Hello, my great viewers. Welcome back to our video today. My name is Anthony. For those who are tuning into my channel for the first time, as I've said, my name is Anthony. So here we do top-down analysis on every weekend, and if I see something to update you on Wednesday, I come back also to drop a video. So if this is something you wanna learn, so I have only one request for you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, kindly make sure you do so. For those who have subscribed to the channel already, I take this opportunity to thank you guys, and let's keep learning together. So without wasting time, today I've come with some few pairs today that I would like to give an update. First of all, I will start with the Euro USD. So, for those who have watched my previous analysis, if you remember very well, we said that Euro USD was bearish, right? So this was the change of character to the downside after the Euro USD reacted from this higher time frame point of interest. It gave us this change of character to the downside, and then I remember mentioning on our previous analysis that we couldn't be sure that this was our swing low, right? We said for us to know that this is our swing low, the 4 hour time frame has had to shift direction, right? Because if you go to the 4 hour time frame, you can see pretty clear that the 4 hour time frame we were bearish because of this break of structure. And then I told you we can never conclude that this is our swing low until the internal structure shift bullish, or the internal structure shift direction. And this is where we saw the change this week. I think last night I woke up this morning and I saw Euro USD giving us this change of character to the upside. So this is a good thing to us because we were expecting this. So now we can conclude and say this is our swing low and this is our swing high. So this is to mean the daily swing pullback has begun, my people. And where do we expect this pullback to? So we can see very clearly we have this very nice order block that is resting around this area. And if you want to do this simple, always go to higher time frame, like weekly time frame. So from the weekly time frame, here you mark your point of interest. You see we have very nice order block around this area. Also, don't forget about we have this very massive fair value gap that was sitting below our order block, that is sitting below our order block. So also remember to pay attention that the market might fail to come to this order block and react from this zone. But until we get our confirmation, that is why we need to go to lower time frame and look for our confirmation before taking any decision to look for any selling opportunity. So going back to the daily time frame, so if you see very clearly, I'm not marking any new point of interest. What I'm doing, I'm just refining this order block that we have marked on higher time frame. That is from the weekly time frame. And if I refine, that is what I have as at now. Okay. So going back to the 4 hour time frame, you can see from the last week, we had this was our internal break of structure. So this was our last internal break of structure, which led to this change of character. So what were we looking for? We were looking to sell from this area. I'm just giving you a recap of what we did. So this is where we were looking to sell. And from the 15 minutes time frame, market gave us a change of character and it reacted from 1 hour time frame order block. If you see very clearly, we had this internal change of character around this area. So market reacted from this order block here. And this is why, my people, is very important to wait for confirmation, because this is where we were looking to sell from. Okay. Remember I told you if the market will not pull down to take out this low, because we have this we had this change of character around this area, and then what we are anticipating is the for market to push down and break this low. Then I remember mentioning that if the market will fail to come down there and have that pullback, this is the area that I will be looking to sell from. And you see this is now importance of waiting for confirmation. You can see very clearly market never gave us a confirmation around this area. Even if you go to 15 minutes time frame, even 5 minutes time frame, market never gave us that confirmation around this area. So if you try to take an aggressive entry from this area, I believe by now you understand the importance of waiting for a confirmation, my guys. So unfortunately, market never reacted from this area and went ahead and gave us this change of character to the upside. That is from the 4 hour swing structure. Okay, remember what seems to be fractal on daily time frame when you go to a lower time frame becomes a swing. So this was a swing from the 4 hour time frame, and you see the euro as the change of character right now. So now this is the area that I'm watching currently. So as at now, this is the area that I'm watching euro USD to come to, because judging from how we can see the market moving, I don't see market having that deeper pullback before coming to this zone. So let's watch this area. Let's see what the euro USD will do upon reaching this area here. So that is my analysis on euro USD. I'm still having open highs on this area. So to confirm our analysis, it's always good to do analysis on DXY, or the index, which is the driver to hold the dollar pairs. Okay, so now let's see what the dollar has to offer. If you look at the index very clearly, we can see that this was our last break of structure, which led to change of character, the same thing that we have seen on euro USD. So initially, looking at the fractal market structure, we see this is where we had a fractal change of character. If you have a issue with identifying a fractal change of character, I think I will make a video on that and explain more about the internal structure, or what you call the fractal market structure. Okay, looking at this one, you can see the market structure was really bullish around this area. You see the market was forming higher highs and higher lows. After we broke this structure to the upside, remember what have I said, guys? You cannot conclude that this is your swing high until the fractal structure turns bearish or changes the direction. If you look closely, this was the fractal break that was in control. So this pair came, reacted from this FVG that you see around this area, and then pushed higher to give us this break of structure. Still, we could not confirm that this was our swing high. Why? Because the fractal was bullish. But now, looking at the 4 hour time frame, because daily has not yet the day is not yet closed, so we still have some 2 hours to some few hours to go before the day ends. So looking at the 4 hour, we can see we had this break of structure to the upside, right? So ideally we were expecting the DXY to react from an area around this area and keep pushing higher. But since now the 4 hour swing has shifted the bearish, my people, I don't want you to get confused around this area. This change of character here, let me label it. This is a change of character. I call it internal market structure shift. This 4 hours shifting bearish does not mean this direction of the market has shifted. No. So this change of character here is to facilitate the objective of the daily time frame. And what is the objective of the daily swing? Is for a market to have a pullback, come to this area here, a point of interest that is within the discount, and then continue buying. So this change of character is only to facilitate the objective of the daily swing, which is to come for the pullback around this area. Because if you look at the weekly time frame, the same we have seen on euro USD, we can see pretty clear we have this indecision candle here as our order block. All right, this is the last bearish candle that led to this change of character to the upside, right? If you go to the daily time frame, here we just refine our order block, and we land to this small candle around this area. So if the market will have that pullback before coming to this zone, then we'll take that sell targeting this area. But if the market will not give us that pullback, then we wait for DXY to come to this area. And guys, these are not an area that you should take an aggressive entry, right? Because remember, this is our low here. And we ain't sure whether the market is going to react from this area. Market can decide to come even to sweep liquidity below this low before giving us that confirmation to go to the upside. But now, what is giving us a confluence is because from the higher time frame, this is an area, and we also have this massive fair value gap that was left around this area. So we are anticipating that the DXY is going, it will be coming back, fill this gap, and then react from this order block, and then we continue buying to the upside. So that is my anticipation. I'm still expecting more bearish movement, at least to come to this area before taking any decision to take any buy opportunity. So this, you can see the DXY today opened with a very massive gap, and I think this was upon the tweet that Trump made upon the ceasefire on the fight that has been happening between the USA and Iran. Or That is the reason why you can see it had a very massive gap around this area, right? Okay, so now moving to the next pair. Next pair for us is the GBP USD. Okay, so what can we see on the GBP USD? I'm going to start from the higher time frame. So starting from the higher time frame, we saw GBP USD reacting from this monthly point of interest around this area. This is the monthly point of interest around this area. So meaning the monthly and also the weekly is bearish. So let me just show you quickly. So looking at the monthly time frame, you can see very clearly this was our last break of structure to the downside. So it came to this last buy before the sell movement. So that is where it is reacting from. But now looking at the weekly time frame or the internal structure. So this is the structure that is in control as at now. This internal structure is still bullish because of this break of structure. Or what is happening now? The GBP USD, it is in what we call uh, a pullback. So because you can see a fractal change of character around this area, we have a break of structure around this area. If you look closely, market never closed above this high, right? So this was just a sweep of liquidity. Let me label it. So that was just a sweep of liquidity. We see liquidity being swept around that area, and then market is now pushing to the downside. Okay, so now going to the daily time frame. So from the daily time frame, we have this break of structure. You see now, this is why it is always important to pay attention to the higher time frame. From the daily time frame, we see we had this change of character around this area. But from the weekly time frame, this was just a sweep of liquidity above this area here. And if I go to the weekly, just to show you, you can see if we measure from swing high to the swing low, we can see market never came to the 50% or the equilibrium. So we're still expecting this pair to push to have that little push towards this discount area before now. If it wants to buy, it should buy from there. Although we don't expect this zone to hold. Why do you think I don't expect this zone to hold? Because we are coming from higher time frame point of interest, and the higher time frame is bearish. So but that one does not mean you don't will not see a reaction from here, because these are very strong low swept liquidity and had a break of structure to the upside. So what I will expect if the Euro GBP USD will come to this area is to have a small pullback and then a push to the downside. But until then, let's just react with what the market is showing us. Okay, moving to the daily. What do I see on the daily time frame? So here on the daily time frame, unlike Euro USD, the daily time frame, I don't see a good order block, but I can see a very nice fair value gap around this area. So this is where I'll be waiting for this pair to come to. We have this very nice fair value gap around this area, because if you look at this area, this fair value gap was mitigated. So this is the fair value gap that is fresh. So for me, I don't expect this eye to hold. I don't expect this eye to hold, and I'm going to give you a reason for that. Okay, looking at the daily time frame, we see this was the last break of structure to the downside, right? So ideally, what are we expecting? We were expecting this order block to hold, because this is the last bullish before the bearish movement. So we were expecting this order block to hold. If you go to 4 hour, if you refine this order block, this is where you are going to land. You see this candle here. You can have that candle here, the last buy before the sell, or you can still refine to this one. As long as it is inside that daily point of interest, there is no problem with that. Okay, so what do you see? You see, because now this is was a very good zone for us to look for that selling opportunity. Why? You can see once the market tapped here, it had a small rejection from there, but went ahead and closed above here. So immediately I see this market closing above this zone. That one gives me a confidence that market is going to take out this eye. So don't expect this eye to hold, right? Because if the market really wanted to sell, it could have given us a very good reaction from this area. All right. But now, judging from what we see the market is coming for this eye. Immediately we have that eye being taken out. We'll have a change of character around that area. So for me, I will wait for this pair to come to this area. And this is where I will be looking for my selling opportunities with, of course, with a confirmation. I don't like taking aggressive entries. Okay. So that is my analysis on GBP USD. moving on to the next pair, I think I have Euro JPY. So from the Euro JPY, okay, from the Euro JPY, looking at the daily time frame, I remember we did this analysis here last time. What do we see? From the daily time frame, this was our last break of structure to the upside. So market gave us this change of character around this area. So that is where we had a change of character around that area. But now looking at the 4 hour time frame, the change of character happened around this area. Then we had this break of structure to the downside. So meaning the swing or the external structure is bearish, right? So moving back to daily for us to mark our order block. So what do we mark? How do we mark our order block? Very nice. So you mark this candle here, the last buy before the sell, because that is the definition of an order block. Okay, so let me go to 4 hour. The business that I have here on the 4 hour is only to refine my order block, and when I refine, I learn to this candle here. So this was the last bullish candle that was printed before the sell movement began. So you can still refine it to this candle here if you wish. So currently we have this pair reacting from this zone here. So we have Euro JPY reacting from that zone. So because this is a 4 hour zone, where do we expect to see a confirmation? Let's go to 15 minutes time frame. So from the 15 minutes time frame, my people, what do you see? You can see the market gave us that confirmation that we needed. You see, we have this fractal break of structure and then we have fractal change of character. So this pullback is very valid, my people. For those who don't know how to validate a valid pullback, should have at least 3 candlesticks that are closing below each other. If you need uh, a strong change of character, this break of structure first of all has to sweep liquidity, and from this time frame, it's not visible. Let's check on 5 minutes. If you look at the 5 minutes time frame, you see this low was swept. We had a sweep of liquidity of this low before this push to break the high to the upside, and then mhm, let me just go there. And then you see the market giving us this change of character to the downside. So immediately you see that, what do? We go back to the 1 hour time frame. After going back to 1 hour time frame, we mark our order block and this becomes our order block. The last buy before the sell. Very easy. Go to 15. On the business on 15 is to refine. You can refine it to this order block around this area here. But now because I have, let me check. Okay. So that becomes my order block on 15 minutes time frame. So what am I watching and what am I waiting? So what I'm waiting here, I'm waiting for my confirmation on 5 minutes time frame. So this is what I want to see. I want to see a deeper uh, a deeper movement inside this zone, because you can see we have a very massive fair value gap around this area. We see we have a very big fair value gap. I need the market pushing deeper, at least to the 50% of this fair value gap, and then I will wait for 5 minutes time frame to give me a shift in structure, a M shape, and then I will get in to target this low. This is where I will have my first target around this area. If I can get 1:3, that will be enough for me. Okay, I can decide to target this low or these lows here. That is where my target is, provided I have that confirmation that I need to see from the 5 minutes time frame. So that is my analysis on this pair. Okay, I think I have an update on BTC USD. Quickly, my people, let me show you something very nice. If you look at the daily time frame of BTC, what do you see? You can see very clearly that the higher time frame from the daily we are bearish. This was the last break of structure to the downside. And then I told you, my people, so until the market breaks this high, you see this high, until we break this high, because this is where we can see the fractal break of structure, until we break this high, we cannot conclude that the daily pullback has begun. So the daily is still bearish. But when the market will close above this high, that is when you can say that the daily pullback has begun. And where will we expect the market to pull back to? You can see very clearly we have this order block that is resting around this area, and we also have this extreme order block, which I'm going to leave it as pending like that. Okay, because I believe market to come to this area, first of all it has to go through this. So currently this will be my order block. Okay, moving down to 4 hour. When you move to the 4 hour, you can see very clearly whatever we saw to be fractal on the daily, when you come to 4 hour becomes swing. So from the 4 hour time frame, if you remember very clearly, we marked these order blocks together with you on our previous analysis. Okay, we said we had that this all of this zone was our daily order block. So we refined to get this order block and also this extreme order block around this area. Okay, so after that we saw you BTC first of all reacted from this order block around this area, and then it had a very nice selling opportunity towards this zone. So what happened? And I remember telling you, my people, because of this break of structure here, this is a break of structure that is in control from the 4 hour time frame. So if this movement to the downside was strong enough, it was supposed to break this low to the downside. But if looking at the internal structure of the 4 hour, market never broke this low. We never saw any candle closing below this low. This was just a sweep of liquidity. Okay, so that one is to mean this structure is the one that is in control. So we have this internal break of structure to the upside. Okay, so after that, looking at the internal structure, this was the last break of structure to the downside. So if this structure also was strong enough, it could have pushed down to break this low, but unfortunately never broke this low. Okay, so meaning the external structure is still in control. All right, so let me ask you a question. After you see this, what do you expect? Do you expect this zone to hold? Okay. For me, I don't expect this zone to hold, right? Although now, for currently as at now, looking at the 4 hour time frame, we are still inside this zone. But for me, I'm still anticipating that this zone is going to be violated. And once we violate this zone, because this is the internal of this internal, I don't know whether you are getting. This is the internal structure of this structure here, right? So this is the internal of this structure here. So if we get that change of character to the upside around this area, then be aware that market will definitely come for this eye, right? Once we see a 4 hour time frame confirming this change of character, just be aware that the market next will come for this break of structure to the upside. But now looking at the internal structure, you can see yesterday I was expecting the BTC to come to this area, this order block around this area before we look for any buying opportunity, but unfortunately missed that entry, missed this zone, so reacted from this fair value gap and then pushed to the upside. Now we have this break of structure to the upside, so this is the internal structure that is in control as of now. So if we love that pullback, if we get that pullback, this is where I'll wait for my confirmation for me to buy. But now, this is not an area that you should look for that aggressive entry. Why? Because we don't have any liquidity that was built around this area, right? This was just one impulsive move to the upside. Market never left the liquidity around this area. So just be aware, market can decide to sweep this low, maybe react from this zone and push to the upside. But if you wait for a confirmation, market will not give you that confirmation before sweeping this liquidity. So it will sweep this low if it wants to, and then give you that confirmation to buy. If the market will not give you that, if the market will continue buying and buying, then this is our next zone here. Because this order block has already served its purpose, we don't expect this order block to hold now. And our next move is we'll be expecting this eye to be taken out. So we'll be waiting for the BTC around this area. So my final bias on BTC, we are currently bullish. The internal structure is bullish. So if you are looking for ending, you should be looking for buying opportunities around either this order block or this order block, assuming that the market will come to this area. Okay, so which pair should I go to? Gold. For those who trade gold, my people. So what did we see from? For the sake of those who didn't watch this or are watching this video from our first time, this is what we did on our previous video. So this is the last swing break of structure here. From the weekly, we have this break of structure here to the downside, to the upside. So this bearish movement that we saw here from past few weeks, this one did not mean that the market was bearish, right? This one was to facilitate the objective of the weekly swing, which was to come to this order block, react from this order block, and then we turn bullish. And then we said that for us to confirm that we are bullish, we needed to see a confirmation from the 4 hour time frame. If you look at the 4 hour time frame, this was our last break of structure to the downside. So what do you see? Market pushed higher and gave us this change of character to the upside. Okay, so after the giving this change of character to the upside, always remember once the market takes out the external structure, market will always have that pullback before a continuation. And looking at the gold reacted from this indecision candle around this area, because if you look closely, the reason why we didn't see gold having that deeper retracement, if you look at around this area, gold never left any fair value gap unmitigated. So every fair value gap that was around this area was mitigated. So this was only the fair value gap that was unmitigated, and that is why you see gold coming to this candle here to react from that. If you refine it from the 1 hour time frame, we got this order block around this area, and that is where gold reacted from. So after reacting from that area, we can see we have a new break of structure to the upside from the 4 hour time frame. This is our break of structure to the upside. So marking our order block correctly, let's go to daily. So if you go to the daily time frame, this becomes your order block, the last sale before the buy. So we identify your order block, go to 4 hour. The business that you have here on the 4 hour is to refine, and the refinement will take you here. Okay, and that becomes my order block that I should be watching from the 4 hour time frame. If you would like to, you can refine to this indecision candle around this area. Let's see whether you can refine on 1 hour. So on 1 hour, it should be around this area. So that becomes your order block. And be careful with this order block. Remember, on this area, uh we don't have any liquidity that was left by the market, right? So once the gold comes to this area, don't take aggressive entry. Make sure you wait for confirmation, W shape, and then you can take your entry targeting this area above the ear. So my final bias on gold, we are bullish, so you should be looking for buying opportunities. Guys, that is all what I had today. That is all what I had today. Just a quick reminder for those who haven't subscribed to the channel, kindly make sure you do so. If you'd like to learn how to do this one-on-one with me, find on the description of this video, you'll find a link to my WhatsApp number. You can inbox me, and I will guide you on how to join the mentorship. And also, the charges to the mentorship is also on the description of this video. So before you come to my WhatsApp, be ready to join the mentorship. So until next time, guys, it's a bye bye for now. I'll see you on Sunday. Bye.